Week 6 is here, so it's time for my score predictions and picks against the spread for every single game every Wednesday with this video. Let's break down these picks. Eagles-Giants, Thursday night football. This is a pretty brutal draw for the Giants. I mean, everyone's beat up, but they're a little banged up on a short week going against a top team that is coming off a loss. You know the Eagles will bounce back. And the Eagles, coming off that Broncos loss, they tried something different in that game. They threw a ton, way too much, and they did not run the ball enough. I don't know if it was to prove something to A.J. Brown or just test some things out, as they were winning football games. But they're going to get back on track in this game. The Giants are brutal stopping the run. Saquon's a little banged up. Don't think it matters. Whatever running back they use, I would like to see them getting Bigsby going a little bit. Hurts had some success running the ball against the Giants last year, 2 touchdowns. And they'll even they'll mix in some throws, and they can win the game, that way as well. So I think the Eagles will really bounce back in a good way here in this one. Again, Giants a little banged up. Dart runs quite a bit, taking a lot of contact the last 2 games, so that's kind of a problem. The Eagles have a very confusing zone-heavy defense, which is extra confusing to rookie quarterbacks. There's also really no weapons in the passing game for Jackson Dart. Now Darius Slayton's injured, and he really wasn't doing much on top of, obviously, Malik Neighbors being out. The Eagles get a lead. They take away the Giants' best part of their offense, running the ball to Scadaboo. So I just don't see much going for the Giants here. Maybe off the script in the beginning. That seems to be a thing the last couple weeks. So I do like the Eagles to really bounce back and win this game big with both sides of the ball. London game, Broncos versus the Jets. I have Denver taking care of business in this one. Yeah, things could get a little weird overseas. Got to deal with the time zone change, the traveling, but this is a bad matchup for the Jets. This is a good Broncos team, but it is a brutal matchup because the Jets actually have moved the ball well the last couple weeks and still got embarrassed because of turnovers, bad defense, constant mistakes, a very undisciplined team, and they played bad defenses. That's the reason they can move the ball. Now they're playing a very, very good defense. It's getting a lot of pressure, and they're going to be much tougher of a run defense than the teams they have been playing. So I'd imagine the Broncos get a lead, kind of eliminate that Jets run game, which is really the only thing they got going for them, put Justin Fields in some uncomfortable situations, and the Broncos could be the best in football rushing the passer. So I just hate the on top of the Jets being awful right now, I absolutely hate the matchup. I don't see how they get much going. I think they could score some touchdowns late in the game like they have been doing. But Denver really should have no problem in this one. A fun little parlay I thought of for the early morning Sunday game. Broncos just pulling off the win. And how about a R.J. Harvey anytime touchdown? Yes, it's a little risky because he's the second string running back. But something I've noticed, with J.K. Dobbins as their lead back against the Bengals, they used Harvey a lot, and I think that's because of 2 reasons here. Sean Payton loves to have a group of backs really, get carries throughout the game, mix it up a little bit, split carries. And he hasn't really been doing it in the big games because he knows J.K. Dobbins is just the better back. But against the Bengals, we saw Harvey get a lot of action, and they're trying to split some backs when they can, save Dobbins when they can because he's gotten injured every single year of his career, it feels like. So I think we'll see a little bit of Harvey. He'll get his opportunity to score on the ground and through the air, actually. So just a little fun bet, throw a few bucks on it. But the Broncos, with the good matchup being the much better team, should handle business in London against the struggling Jets. Cardinals and Colts, I have Indy taking care of business at home, 26-16. They are on a roll after dominating the Raiders last week. They're playing very well at home, and they'll have the advantage here at home. And they're just the better team, plain and simple. I do like the way the Cardinals stop the run for the most part this year, so they kind of can slow the best part of the Colts down. I don't think they're going to stop Jonathan Taylor, but maybe he doesn't go crazy in this game, but I love that the Colts have so many different options to go to, and that this is more of a defensive game for Indianapolis as the Cardinals are struggling to be consistent on offense. They don't have their top 2 running backs right now. Kyler's pretty inconsistent. He actually hasn't practiced yet this week, so if he's out, this could be even bigger of a win for the Colts. And then I would say use the Colts on an alternate line in a parlay. It'd be a good parlay leg. If possible. The reason I say right now maybe I'm staying away from it, even though I do like the Colts winning by 10 here, is because which Cardinals are we going to get? I mean, are we going to get this team that's pissed off because they lost a game they had no business losing? They know they outplayed them. They just had to put together 4 quarters. Will that force them to kind of learn a lesson? Play with fire through 4 quarters? Does Gannon have them pumped up? Or are we going to get a team that is absolutely down because what happened last week? They choked versus the worst team in football. Their head coach is punching a player. There's a lot of distractions right now. What are we going to get here? It's a little up in the air. I kind of could see either side of it. I do like the Colts to win this one at home, the better team. The defense should do enough, and the offense will make a few plays at least. So give me the Colts. If Kyler's out, the Colts definitely should win this game big. But yeah, again, do the Cardinals have enough, mainly with that running game right now without their two top backs? Chargers and Dolphins. The Chargers lost 2 in a row. They're extra sloppy right now, extra injured, and it's hurting them. You can see it. They're making mistakes, and the offensive line cannot block. But I like the spot the Chargers are in for this game. Yeah, the Dolphins maybe are starting to play a little bit better, but they blew a 17-0 lead to the Panthers. Yes, it goes to Miami, but Chargers defense is still legit. There's really nothing wrong with the Chargers defense right now. It's going to be a problem for Tua in this offense that really relies on big, explosive plays, and they don't have Tyreek Hill, and the Chargers do not allow big, explosive plays. That's why this defense is so good. It keeps everything in front, when going against opposing offense, no matter who they go against, really. So, love the way the Chargers defense matches up in this one, even though the Dolphins can be explosive and fast. And in terms of the Chargers offense, yeah, the offensive line's a problem and the turnovers are a problem. I don't see it happening with the turnovers. 3 straight games. Harbaugh's going to get this team ready. Yes, the Dolphins' pass rush is pretty solid going against a beat-up offense line. Herbert's doing fine under pressure. Some turnovers here and there. I know they're beat up at running back. The Dolphins are dead last. There's some really bad run defenses right now, and the Dolphins are dead last. So the Chargers should have success throwing the ball, running the ball for sure. And on defense, I really like the way their defense matched up in this game. So I like the Chargers to win by 7, could possibly win by more. I know it's in Miami. How hot's it going to be? That gives them advantage. But I like the Chargers. 3.5 seems like a low spread. I think you could buy them low right now because they're sloppy. No one's buying in right now. So that's why that line is at 3.5. But give me the Chargers to bounce back. Patriots at Saints could be a little bit of a trap game, maybe some would say, for the Patriots, just because back-to-back road games off somewhat of an emotional win against the Bills. The Saints are better than their record. They figured something out on defense, maybe both sides of the ball at home, back-to-back games. But I like the Patriots here. I was feeling the Saints last week. They pulled it off, but a totally different matchup. And the main reason I like New England here is that run defense. That run defense is one of the best in football, and the Saints got not just Alvin Kamara, but Kendre Miller going, now Taysom Hill back in the mix, but the Patriots will slow that down. They'll force Spencer Rattler in some uncomfortable situations here, and he's been playing better than expected. He's been playing fine, but it's going to be tough if you become one-dimensional in this game. But I do love the way the Saints defense played last week. Maybe they limit the Patriots offense a little more than what the Patriots been doing offensively, so it could stay close. I just think New England, they got to get the run game going though, New England, but I like the way the defense is playing since it's got Christian Gonzalez back and the way they're stopping the run, so that will be the way they win this game. Maybe a little more carries for Henderson. He can break some runs. Diggs is playing out of his mind. Drake May, very impressive, so I like New England. 23-16, you can use them as a money line pick in a parlay as a parlay option. I think they cover that 3.5, but again, it could be close. It could be a defensive game, so that hook could be tough with that half a point on top of 3. But give me New England in this one on the road. Browns and Steelers. This could be a classic AFC North defensive battle that we've seen so many times between the Browns and the Steelers. 2 very solid defenses, especially the Browns. Very impressed with their defense this year. I mean, they were allowing some yards to Minnesota, but they were still making some clutch plays. And the problem for the Browns in this game is the rookie quarterback going against an experienced defense. Will he be able to do enough? Do they have to rely on the run game, which Judkins could run very well in this game? And then making the trip back. They're going from London back home, not having that bye, and then not even going back home, going to Pittsburgh and playing a team that's rested off the bye. So if you look at it that way, the Steelers have a massive, massive advantage. So there's potential for Pittsburgh to win this game big, take advantage of the rookie quarterback, try to keep them to only passing situations. If you can eliminate the run on early downs, you're going to win this game. You're probably going to win it big. But I do like the Browns defense, the way it matches up against Pittsburgh. So I don't think they'll go crazy on the scoreboard. 17-13 Steelers is what I have for Sunday. Feeling the upset here. Carolina, I'm going with 2 weeks in a row. Worked out for me last week. Could it possibly work out 2 weeks in a row? I mean, it is Carolina. Very inconsistent. Have some really bad outings at times, but love the matchup for them. They're a much better team at home. I like what I saw during that comeback and at the end against the Miami Dolphins last week. A lot of energy, a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum from Carolina. The defense seems to be much improved from last year. They're stopping the run much better. To be determined, they do have to deal with the very good offense in the Cowboys. I will say if Lamb and some of those offensive linemen of Dallas play, I may have to rethink this one. I do think Lamb could go off on them. I'm not really expecting him to play, but I'm not an injury expert. Yes, Dak's balling out. The Javonte Williams, the offense is balling out. That definitely can continue in this game, but this is back-to-back road games. The Cowboys are also 0-2 on grass this year. They got to go to Charlotte, play the Panthers, who are much better at home. I trust their offense. I do not trust that defense. If the defense is that, it could be the worst defense in football. It is that bad. So Bryce Young, who caught some fire, they got multiple weapons going. Rico Dowdle, who dominated the Panthers last year, at the end of last year for the Cowboys, he's going against his old team in Dallas. We'll see if Hubbard plays, but whoever's in the backfield, I think they'll have success. I think Bryce Young has success. He just can't turn the ball over in this game like he did last game, but he was still able to come back. And once again, he's at home playing a weaker defense. So this potentially could be a shootout. I could see either team winning big, too. I'm predicting close, but I could see the Cowboys winning big, even though I'm picking the Panthers. I could see the Panthers winning big. It's just which defense steps up and makes that play. I'm going to trust Bryce Young, but I'm going to trust both offenses in this game. So give me Carolina in this one. We're monitoring some Dallas injuries. I'd take a shot on Panthers money line as it sits at pretty good odds right now. That's if Lamb is out, but you can bet it at the plus 3.5 as well. That looks pretty solid, but not if you think the Cowboys are going to win. Only do it if you kind of agree with me here. You needed someone else to be on the same page with you, then you can put money on it. But I'm feeling back-to-back upsets here for Carolina. We'll see if they pull it off. This one right here, Seahawks versus Jags, the single toughest, at least in my opinion, the single toughest game to pick out of all weeks so far this year. A lot of factors. Still on the fence about this game. We all need to know who is playing on that defense for Seattle in terms of injuries. That secondary is super beat up. And DeMarcus Lawrence, their edge rusher. Who's in? Who's out? It's still early in the week. We don't know, but Seattle got even more banged up in the secondary as the game went on against Tampa, and that was a big factor. Baker was throwing all over him. Maybe they would have done that anyways because the Bucs offense is that good. But that's huge in a game like this because if they're missing Love and Witherspoon, for an example, the hot Jags offense, Trevor Lawrence, all those weapons, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter getting going, and they have multiple guys they can get the ball to, that might be a problem. But if those guys play, it's a very good Seattle defense. Didn't show last week, but it's a very good Seattle defense that can put Lawrence in some tough situations, maybe create some turnovers. So that's why we have to monitor some of these injuries. I'm still on the fence about this game. Even if Seattle's fully healthy, the Jags could still win. It still can go either way. Right now, I am leaning with Jacksonville, but it's tricky because I want to say, back-to-back home games. They're home in this one. That gives them an advantage, right? You would think, but Seattle, for some reason under Mike Macdonald, is way better on the road. Is that an actual thing? It's not a huge sample size, but they do have to travel from, Seattle to Jacksonville. It's a pretty far travel, and the Jags have back-to-back home games. So I think that will lean Jacksonville in terms of the home field advantage situation there. Also, Liam Cohen's former team, the Buccaneers, scored all over Seattle. They figured something out. They're going to run very similar offense because that's an offense that Liam Cohen built. Now, I don't think the Jacksonville offense is as good as Tampa, but there might be some key things on film where they can kind of keep rolling. They're fresh off rolling against a good Chiefs defense. I don't think the Chiefs defense is as good as Seattle. I mean, Seattle's is probably worse if it's banged up still, so it's the factors. Is Trayvon Walker playing for Jacksonville? We'll see. But Jacksonville's defense is weird. You can move the ball. You can throw the ball on them. You can move it pretty easily, so Seattle could have a day throwing it on them, but they just continue to create turnovers. The way I see it, what I determined here, there's so many games in the NFL this year that have been decided by weird, wacky, maybe lucky, maybe fluky, but it's happening so much that it's not so lucky and fluky anymore. So many games, especially with some of these teams, have been decided that way. This is going to be one of those games. This is going to be one of those games. It's whoever wins the turnover battle, and Jacksonville is winning the turnover battle versus anybody else in the NFL right now. But the second the Jags, that's what I worry about with the Jags, the second they go a game without getting a turnover, I don't know if I like their chances. So if they don't get a single turnover in this game, which Darnold's been taking care of the ball for the most part, I know he ended that on the wrong side of that last game. But yeah, look at the last few games, if the Jags don't create the turnovers they did, they probably don't win those games. So are they relying on that? That's kind of my knock on the Jags. At the same time, I feel like this game's going to be ended by some crazy way. Maybe we'll lean Jacksonville making that extra play. But if Seattle gets all their guys back on defense, or I'm mainly looking at Love, Witherspoon, and DeMarcus Lawrence, if they get 2 out of 3 or all 3, I could flip to Seattle. So yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter or in the comment section of this video. So that's why sometimes it's a little tough to pick games this early, but I'm going to trust Jacksonville. It's weird, though, because Seattle's so much better away, but if they were home, in back-to-back games, I would almost maybe lean them. This is going to be a really good game. It's that hard to pick. Let me know who you're picking in the comments, but I'm going to go 26-24 Jacksonville here, even though Trayvon Walker's a little banged up. Maybe they've been one of the healthier teams. Now Strange is beat up, though. Just every team is just significantly injured. But we will see who pulls this one off. Rams and Ravens, we still really don't know the injury list for the Ravens. It was a long list last week. It's not looking good for them. Lamar still didn't practice, but yeah, it's to Hamilton, Ronnie Stanley, these guys going to be back as well. That plays a part here in the prediction, but sometimes teams, when they're a week away from their bye, they kind of just hold out their banged up guys and just make sure they get right, and then, hey, we'll get going after the bye. I kind of feel that's what's going to happen here, because if the Ravens play all their key players, they could still lose against a really good Rams team, and they can get even more banged up going into the bye. Not ideal. So I'm going to say the Ravens rest anybody that has even a minor injury. Therefore, the Rams could roll in this game. They had an extra break. They're probably pissed off about being upset on Thursday night. The offense will have all kinds of success. Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams, these guys been balling out anyways. The running game will get going as well. The Ravens defense is injured and bad as it is, and I don't expect Cooper Rush to be able to do enough. So 31-16, Rams win this one. Can use it as a parlay leg option, maybe bump it down to 5.5 in case they win by 6, but Vegas having it at 7.5 kind of says, yeah, they feel like the Ravens should be a little banged up in this one. But if Lamar plays, I wouldn't touch this one. I'm still going to go Rams, but it's going to probably be a close game here. But we'll take LA in this one, bouncing back. Titans and Raiders. I'm going to take Vegas at home, winning 24-17. The Titans, I mean, maybe they figured something out, down the stretch of that game. I mean, Cam Ward was balling out. They got a lot of momentum from that game, that clutch victory. So maybe that's exactly what they needed. It's an emotional win that they got pretty lucky on. A lot of teams got lucky on games this year, but they're still kind of a bad team, a very poorly coached team. They're dropping good balls, but from Cam Ward, they're allowing a lot of explosive runs. And the Raiders, even though it feels like the team is going south, Genti's going north, and he's playing much better. So I expect Genti to win this game. But I said that when they played the Bears, and I mean, they had it. But they just turned the ball over so many times they lost the game, and they had a blocked field goal at the end. And last week they turned the ball over so many times, and they were just outmatched by the Colts. But Titans got to go on the road after an emotional game. They're just not that good of a team. The Raiders aren't that good, but it's more so the turnovers are making them not so good. So I think there's some good parts to that Raiders team right now. So I think Genti and company, Max Crosby making some plays, they'll figure it out. We'll see if Bowers plays or not. That is pretty big factor. But I think the Raiders at home. This was in Nashville. Maybe the Titans could continue to feed off that momentum possibly, but it's in Vegas. I like the Raiders 24-17. You can use the Raiders as a money line option. The question, though, is did Cam Ward and these Titans, did they figure something out at the end? And now they're just, because they're a young team that was just waiting to break out, maybe they're going to get go. Maybe. I'm not really fully. I'll buy into Cam Ward. I like what I see. I don't think people are giving enough credit. Some drop balls that are really good throws. He had some dimes at the end of that game, but I just don't think there's enough from the coaching and from this team as a whole right now. I'll take the Raiders 24-17. Bengals and Packers. The Packers are wearing those wacky-looking throwback uniforms. I mean, the helmets are kind of cool with that leather look, but I got Green Bay off the bye, winning 31-20. They haven't won in a few weeks because they had a bye. They tied. They lost to the Browns. But they're looking to get back on track. Perfect bye for them. And they're playing a Bengals team that is really, really struggling. So they're going to score points. I think at least 31 to 34 range. But it is a very large line of 14.5, and the Packers could cover that. It is very large. And I imagine that line's going to go down now because Joe Flacco, who the Bengals traded for, is actually starting. I saw that announced right before I started recording this. And you could argue either side of that. He's getting thrown into a situation, a bad situation on short notice, so he could struggle. Packers get another crack at him because they played against him when he was with the Browns, but Flacco gets another crack at that defense that struggled the last time we saw them, but that was against the Cowboys offense. But I mean, Flacco can throw the ball, right? He can sling the ball, and guess what? The Bengals have some legit weapons, so I do think 14.5 is a little large of a line, but the Packers should have no problem, mainly with, and I think the defense will pick it up, but mainly with that offense. Off the bye, Josh Jacobs have a big game. Their receivers, Tucker Kraft, I think Kraft has a pretty big game against that Bengals defense that just isn't there yet. The talent isn't there. So 31-20 Green Bay is what I have in that one, but I don't really want to touch that one because does Flacco really elevate them, or what type of Flacco are we going to get? It's such a large line. But give me Green Bay 31-20. 49ers and Bucks, one of the toughest ones to pick this week. I'm going to lean with Tampa winning 27-24. Just easier to trust them a little bit more here at home. Back-to-back road games for San Francisco. They pulled it off against the Rams. These two teams are extremely injured, but the Niners are the most injured team in football. I guess the Ravens are up there with them right now. Can they keep beating contending teams that injured? Sure they can. But Mac Jones in a knee brace right now due to that PCL injury. Is that a factor in this one? I mean, Tampa's defense struggled last week. That pass defense really struggled, so Mac Jones could dice him up. Christian McCaffrey could, and the Bucs typically stop running backs very well. McCaffrey, a different animal, so if McCaffrey goes off on them, the Buccaneers are like so off their game, and then the Niners, I could argue either side of this one. That's why it's a tough one to pick, but Baker is playing like an MVP right now. Egbuka playing like the Rookie of the Year. I think we're going to start to see a little more Godwin stepping up here. They got to get that running game going a little bit more without Bucky Irving, and they should start to get a little healthier. Niners just have so many injuries. I still don't think Pearsall is going to play. Is Mac Jones, who's balling out, going to be 100%? Is Juwan Jennings going to play? Obviously, Kittle's not back, and historically, the Niners have mainly lost football games without Nick Bosa. Right now, they're winning. Well, they won one, I guess, without him. They lost to the Jags, but it turns out the Jags are a pretty good team. It's just, I don't know if the Niners, I believe in the Niners. I believe in that coaching staff. I'm believing in Mac Jones right now, but can they keep beating contending teams while being this injured? In Tampa, I'm gonna lean no. They're probably not, but if McCaffrey goes off, the Buccaneers are totally off their game plan and their game then, and again, you can throw on Tampa. 49ers could win this game. I said this in the picks video. I could see this being close like this. I could also see either team whooping ass in this. I could see so many different scenarios, but I'm going to lean Tampa. I'm going to trust them. They're clutch in the end. Baker's balling. They're at home. 27-24 Bucks. Sunday night football, a good one between two heavyweights. Well, the Chiefs' record doesn't make them look like heavyweights, but it looks like that offense is really figuring things out. Another super tough one to pick for multiple reasons. Lions at Chiefs. The Chiefs are off a loss. That kind of makes you want to go Chiefs. Their offense has figured it out. They're at home. They typically win at home. They have one loss at home this year. They didn't lose at all at home last year. Those things want to make you want to pick Chiefs. Again, offense is rolling. Mahomes is balling out. They're playing a Lions defense that is missing both their starting corners. Makes you want to go Chiefs. The Lions are just the better team. I think they're clearly the best team in football right now. Doesn't mean they're going to win every game. They got to slip up sometime. It could be this week. But this offense is the best in football. It is rolling. They could win with running the ball. They can win with airing the ball downfield. They can win managing the clock. They can win by scoring with quick, explosive plays. The defense is playing well, even though they're missing corners. And the Chiefs defense, I kind of felt it before the Ravens game. That defense just didn't feel like that normal top-tier defense to me, even though it might not have fully showed on the scoreboards. And then the Ravens game happened, and they absolutely dominated. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're okay. Then the Jags game happened, and they could not stop the Jacksonville Jaguars. They could not stop them. And that was on the road in prime time. Maybe it was just a weird one-week thing. We'll see. But now they got to deal with the best offensive football. I just love the way the Lions could win by controlling the clock and scoring on those drives. So I'm going to trust Detroit to pick apart this questionable Chiefs defense here and control the clock. And the Chiefs offense, even though I expect it to be good, I expect it to be explosive, it does have its random hiccups too, right? So Lions also, I've noticed, it also feels like every time they play in primetime football over the last few years, they just win. They find ways to win, and it looks dominant. And every time we watch them in prime time, the whole world's going, is that the best team in football? So we could see that again here. You could go over in general on this game. The Lions team total, which we hit last week, It's only at 25.5. I feel like that's worth a go there. I feel like they're going to score more than that. The Lions have potential to, again, just absolutely drain the clock, which sometimes results in both teams scoring less than anticipated. So that's a possibility. But even when the Lions do that, that's why I like the Lions over better than the total. Because even when they do that, they limit the other team from scoring. They still score. So I'll take the Lions, but it's tricky. Chiefs really going to lose back-to-back. They're really going to lose at home for a second time when they have the best home field advantage. They won the most at home over the last few years. They've also probably been the most elite team over the last few years combined. They're not really there right now, even though they can get there with Rashee Rice coming back soon. But I'll take Detroit. Chiefs are favored by 2.5. This is going to be a fun one on Sunday Night Football. Two Monday night games. The first one between the Bills and the Falcons. Two teams wearing some clean throwback uniforms. This should be a shootout, and it could be back-to-back trap games for Buffalo as the Falcons are off a bye. They have an explosive offense that they got going in their last outing. The Bills defense is struggling. They're a good team, really good team that's a little underwhelming right now. They got to go to Atlanta on Monday Night Football. The furthest the Bills have traveled this year is East Rutherford, New Jersey, right down the street. Not actually, but from Buffalo. It's a bit of a further travel. So, again, it could be a trap game. Bills defense struggling, especially stopping the run like they always do. So, Bijan, one of the very best, maybe the best in the game right now, could run all over the Bills, control the clock, put points up on the board, keep Josh Allen and company on the sideline, and the Falcons could win this game. You could throw in the Bills as well, and Michael Penix, Drake London, etc. They could do these things. So I could totally see the Falcons giving the Bills two straight losses in primetime football in general, but in primetime football as well. And then for the Bills, they got to get, the offense is good. It's got to be better. I think it'll get back on track in this one. Who knows? We still kind of to be determined how good the Falcons defense is. It almost looked elite after the first couple weeks. It kind of felt like maybe that was not real, and then it's come back down to earth. I think the Bills offense will have success. The Bills have, but Bijan's going to have success running on them. So what the Bills have to do, they have to get up early and often. If they do that and they get a 10-0 lead or a 10-point lead, 13, 14-point lead early, I'll say the Bills are probably going to whoop their ass because it kind of limits opportunities for the Falcons to run the ball, which is the main key, even though they'll be able to throw the ball on the Bills too, but it's the main key. So there is a scenario where the Bills win big, but I just think both teams are going to be scoring. I don't trust either defense. I like the explosive offenses. I know the Bills are probably pissed how they played offensively last game, and they're a team that you trust to snap out of it, snap into it, get going, find their rhythm. And they'll do that indoors here under Josh Allen. And James Cook's a big part of that offense. The Patriots are so good stopping that run. So that kind of limited them in a way. They'll get that going as well. Two good offenses going back and forth. If it's a shootout, I'm gonna trust Josh Allen over Michael Penix in that shootout. But again, Bijan in that running game could be the difference. Or if the Bills get up early and often, that could be the difference. But another potential trap game for Buffalo. I think it stays close. I like the over of 49.5. I just don't see how either team really gets shut down on offense. Like I said, there's a scenario the Bills get a big lead early, and that can limit the Falcons, but that's also going to mean the Bills are going to score an insane amount of points if that's the case. And the Falcons could still, they don't need the run to score points. They could still score points. So I like the over in that one. 31-27 should be fun on Monday night. 1 out of 2 games on Monday Night Football. Bears at Commanders, Monday Night Football. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels should be a good one. Yet another one that should be somewhat high scoring, a potential shootout. The Commanders defense did ball out this past week against the Chargers. The week before it was pretty bad. I'm more trusting these offenses in this one. And for the Bears, this run, I'm a big run defense guy. It's hard for me to trust teams that are so bad stopping the run, and the Bears are one of the worst in football. But they've overcame that, even though it's been an issue, and they won 2 in a row, and they're fresh off the bye looking for revenge against the Commanders. So for the Bears to get around that run defense issues, they have to, a couple things. They have to get a lead early, a multi-score lead to kind of take the run away by default, kind of like they did with the Cowboys. They also could create turnovers like they did against the Cowboys and the Raiders, and that could help them get by as well. I just think the recipe to win is a little challenging against a really good football team I would imagine that takes care of the football. But I do think the Bears offense could have success kind of like Michael Penix and the Falcons did against the Commanders. So if the Bears get up, just score, they get up, take away the run that way from the Commanders, they can most certainly win this game. I'm just going to trust Washington at home as they're starting to get a little bit of a groove when they got Jaden Daniels back. They upset the Chargers. I don't know how much of an upset that actually is. Maybe a tough game plan because we haven't seen a ton of Daniels yet this year. So I'm going to trust Washington here in this one, but should be a very fun one. I know a lot of people will be watching this one on Monday, both those Monday night games. A little fun parlay here. The Commanders pull it off. Maybe not with that 4.5 line. We'll have them covering that, but just money line pick combined with the Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt rushing touchdown, which he seems to be the guy right now. I know they'll split. I don't really care in terms of the game plan. Whoever gets the ball should have success against Chicago, but Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt's getting the ball a little bit more and more, and he's legit. He's going off. He'll rip off some explosive runs. I see him getting in the end zone yet again. So that'll be a fun one to go with on Monday night. We always have bets on our Twitter. Maybe we can combine, once we get there, the 2 Monday night games there. But this should be a fun one on Monday night. And then here's kind of a recap of all the picks that I made. A lot of favorites this week, a couple underdogs here. So it could be an interesting week. This could be the week that separates the men from the boys. Week 6, starting to kind of get close to midseason. We're going to start figuring some teams out here. So it's going to be a very, and maybe weather starting to get to be a factor sometime soon here. So should be a very entertaining. I think we'll learn a lot from this week 6 in general here. But yeah, we have our weekly pick show on the channel, power rankings on the channel, a trade video on the channel, more of those to come, more content to come covering week 6. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.